You gotta be kidding me, folks. Season 2, number 2. Uno, dos. Numero dos. Yes, I'm being funny today, folks, but here's the thing. We have just finished third period discussing the great Ronaldinho soccer right now. So here we move on to You Gotta Be Kidding Me. Tell them what you got, Captain.
First thing off, I got no glasses today. My eyes, I feel like on the upswing, getting better. Still pretty bad, but I'm not going to, I'm going to stay back from the camera so you don't have to look at my eye too much. Yes, we just got done talking about soccer. We talked about the highlights. We talked about greatest players. I'm not even going to try to say that guy's name that Coach Frazier, Raldinino. But anyway, we are going to talk a little bit today about sports and my take on yesterday's sports day. Different, crazy, wild, like I could never imagined a year ago. Yesterday there were 3 major sports on that I was flipping around watching pretty much at the same time. I was watching football, I was watching baseball, and I was watching basketball, all in the same, like within the same time frame. They all played the same time yesterday. But the thing that stood out the most of all 3 of them were the lack of fans in the stands. I think the biggest takeaway I got from it was, the Lakers won the world championship. Ticker tape falling down everywhere, nobody there. No fans going crazy. But I feel like the biggest one that just opened my eyes, literally, was the Minnesota-Seattle football game. When Minnesota had 4th and inches near the goal line and either had to go for it or kick a field goal to go up 8 or go for it and end the game. And they were playing in Seattle. And the sportscaster made a very good point that if they were in Seattle on a normal Sunday, there's no way they would have gone for it because they couldn't hear anything because it's so loud in there. But because there was nobody cheering, they ended up going for it, not getting it. But it changed the whole way people coached because there was nobody in there. So that just was like, wow, you're exactly right. It changes even people's perception of coaching and the way they would coach and the things they would do with fans in the stands. So again, that was, I don't know if you watched any of that yesterday, Frazier, or not.
I was so locked into the basketball game. Because there's a chance when you're watching the NBA playoffs and especially the finals, there was only 2 games left that could be played, so I wanted to make sure I watched every second of the coverage for it. So I watched the pre-games and everything else. I was locked in with that. But I do understand the 12th man in Seattle and what you're saying. And it is something that you prep for as a coach and as a team. You have to prep for those things. Like me coaching high school basketball in front of a packed house, even our own gym, when it's loud like that, you have to be prepped. You have to be prepared. And one of the things you need are hand signals, you need calls, and you need to be able to communicate with your players. And the days that lead up to the game, the practice before the game, some people, you can't just call timeout on something. Sometimes a timeout, 1 minute is not going to fix the problem. It's not going to happen. And in this situation, you literally, when you call timeout right now in an NFL game, you're getting plenty of time because you can hear throughout the concept. So if I run the play clock down, trying to decide what to do, then I call time. It's basically I've had 2 timeouts. So time is affected a lot by not having a crowd, in my opinion.
So what do you do to prepare for that as a coach? What do you do to prepare for going into, a school like, I don't even know, I'm not going to try to call anybody out, but a school that doesn't have very many fans, when you're playing a game where it's quiet and they can hear everything you say, opposed to a packed Leesville Road High School Millbrook game that standing room only. How do you prepare your team prior to going into those 2 games for the 2 completely different atmospheres they're going to be in?
2 things. Very, very good question. If you have a highly intelligent basketball player or team, like an Alex Hunter or a Carter is the best at it. By far. Alex was great, but Carter's awesome at this. The 2 fastest things in any sport, in my opinion, are a person's voice and the ball that you're playing with. Nothing's going to travel faster than them. So you're able to pick up the pace of play by a less amount of people because I can yell, Carter, Carter, computer blue. That's not really a play call, but you can call something really, really fast and get his attention. But not only, he doesn't have to look at me for a hand signal when he gets the ball. I can yell it to him while he's running, and he can get them in places faster. So you can pick up your offensive pace of play. You can change your defenses. There are so many different things you can do when you can hear. Strategy as far as prep time, it actually evens the game up, in my opinion. A larger crowd, no matter where we are, it favors me and my team because of the preparation of knowing hand signals, knowing calls, and being able to get into something. But the pace of play picks up with being able to hear and communicate better, if that makes sense.
Have you ever had a player that you just let run when you got to situations like that, just decide what they were going to call
Carter
throughout the game?
Carter definitely. And as time has progressed for me coaching, like coaching basketball especially, at Northwood, those kids didn't throw the ball or you didn't shoot without permission, so to speak. I quarterbacked it all. I picked who was getting the ball. I knew where it was going. I knew all those things. But as time has progressed, I have gotten a little bit more freely open.
Loose?
Yeah, I guess loose would be the terms. But Carter and I have talked about this in interviews. We've talked about this before and stuff. In the 3 years that we've been together calling plays with each other, we've only disagreed one time. And we both can tell you what it was over. We both can tell you that I wanted to run a play because we messed it up the play call before, and it was this past season. I wanted to run the same play, and we messed it up 2 times in a row. And it was my fault just because I was stubborn because of something I saw on film. And he and I got mad at each other for about 10 seconds, and then we were like, whatever, move on. But being able to communicate in any shape, form, or fashion, it makes a difference. It makes it like a whole lot easier. Like you said, like even from an encouragement standpoint, like people in the dugout cheering for somebody pitching or somebody going to the plate, somebody missing a signal in a baseball game. I mean, it's a big difference. That's just my take. I mean, and I use this as another thing about the crowd. The crowd gives you 10 extra seconds of energy, in my opinion. You're going to run 10 seconds longer at home than you are on the road.
Well, and I can tell you that the pandemic did allow a completely different set of eyes, a different hat to wear, a different lens to look through in watching sports. I mean, you never, unless you knew what was going on, it's fun. It's a different way to watch football, for that matter. I mean, you can hear everything the quarterback's saying. You can hear the lineman telling you what numbers they're going to block. I got 42. I got 68. I got 27. You can hear everything that goes on, and you never knew that type of game existed within the game. That to me, I enjoy it. I'm enjoying watching, hearing. I always growing up, and I'm sure they had this when you were growing up too, Frazier. They had, I used to enjoy NFL films when they used to mic them up, and you could hear them talking. You could hear the crunch of the people hitting, things like that. That was fun to me. Just to see, because you almost felt like you were in the huddle with them. You were with them. But watching games now, truly, you can hear. Last night, you could hear Russell Wilson every play call, kill, 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 and he'd call something different. Was just amazing to me, the intricacies of everything that goes on in a game that you would have never known if there were fans in the stands.
Well, I'll use the NBA Finals as an example. 17 and 11 were my 2 numbers from last night that most people are going to be like, what is he talking about, 17 and 11? The Lakers used 17 new calls last night. 17. The Miami Heat used 11 new calls. So that means they were new from game 5 to game 6. They hadn't even run those things yet. They added them in 24 hours. The reason why they had to do that, if he's standing over there yelling, pistol two, and he's calling a handoff and a ball screen, Eric Spoelstra for the Miami Heat, down the way, somebody from Frank Vogel's writing it down. They normally do that with the crowd, but it's easier to hear. Now, did they run the same plays with a different call last night? Yes, but they changed the play calls. And when you're talking about like kill, kill, kill and an audible, there are so many different audibles in sports. But the NFL, being able to hear the quarterback, that is fun. It makes the game fun to watch.
It does, and there's less penalties as far as offsides and jumping and things like that. As a matter of fact, I can't say that because, again, because it's so loud or so quiet, the inflection of voices by the quarterback given does sometimes make the defense jump off sides even more because now they can hear it. They're not watching the ball being snapped. They're actually hearing the voice, and they're jumping because of that. It does change the game. It changes the way, let's be honest, it changes the way we live. It changes the way we have fun. It changes what we watch on TV. It changes the way people coach. But again, someday we'll get back to normal. You and I will agree on some things. We'll get back to normal at some point. So unless you have anything else about this pandemic and this no fans in the stands, which I watched 3 events last night, which were amazing, and you focused on one. Again, golf was on too. I could have watched golf too, but I didn't.
Well,
I don't think golf changes much.
The question I got is, how quick and will we ever see playoff baseball, playoff basketball, and a regular NFL game again on a day? Will it ever happen again?
I hope no, because that means we're getting back to normal. But in this time and day, anything's possible, I guess. Anything. So,
well, in that case, folks, I think I've said my piece for today. Tune in tomorrow, and if you need to, after you watch this video, go check out some more of the videos. We have some really good episodes. We have some really bad episodes, but they're all fun episodes. Until next time. Anything else?
We're out.
We're out, folks.